So this is from Lee. Hi Damo, you've said many times that musicians and bands should be gigging many times a week, but what do you do if you live in an area that only has a few music venues and each venue doesn't want the same band performing within a month? Also, if it's a small area, even playing different venues could be stretching your audience too thinly. What should a band do in this instance?
Okay, so big hello to Lee. So I did I was going to go to Leicester last week, but I couldn't go to do a talk which Lee and some guys had put on. And so what we did was we did a Skype, and I was like a massive head, like a huge head. And when I saw the picture
feel like
back,
you're in Star Wars.
there was like 4 people on the stage, and then behind them was just this massive fat face, and it was mine. But it was really fun.
Oh, cool.
It just shows the wonders of modern technology. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, nice one, Lee.
So yeah, cheers for that, Lee. Okay, so the reason why I like this question, the reason why I wanted to talk about this question is because one thing I notice with musicians, and I'm not saying this about Lee, but I'm noticing about musicians across the board, is they're all about what I call the 20%. Everything is the 20%. So everything is stepping away from what I call the art of simplicity. The art of simplicity for me is the key to a career. And I feel like for the I'm not saying massive, but for the minimal amount of success that I've had as a musician and business, I have a skill, and it's because I'm a bit thick. But I have a skill.
What I was expecting you to say.
But I have a skill to not complicate things, mainly because my brain goes, "Oh, hang on, stop. We've got to make this really simple." So for me, I have this thing of like, I've got to go from A to B in the straightest line possible, in an easiest way as possible, and I have to be able to say things as straight as possible, because that to me is just, let's keep this as simple as possible. And every day, because of that, one thing I notice is I'm looking around going, "Oh, you're making your life hard."
Yeah.
It's like a thing that I do 10 times a day, where I'm just looking at people going, "You make your life hard." And I have this thing which is the art of simplicity. It just pops up. It just goes.
You should do a video on that.
I should do a video. Okay, well, I will.
Damien philosophy.
Yeah, I know, and that's something I don't want to get into the philosophy of life. People are like, off. But for me personally, that is something that I notice. I notice this thing where musicians are going, right, how can I do this, except I want to put all of these obstacles in my way? And I'm like, obviously sometimes you have obstacles in your way, I get it, but on the whole, musicians don't realise that you can just go, "Oh, hang on. Oh, that was easier. I'll just do that." And it always, I was talking to Ed yesterday about this, and I have this this thing where Happy Gilmore, the film, the golfer film.
Yeah, I used to watch that a lot.
Yeah, and it's such a great film, and he's like a terrible golfer, but he has this ability to just hit the ball really, really far. So he's on like a par, I don't play golf, but he's on like a par 400 yards or something, I don't know, par 4 or something, I don't know. Sure. Anyway, it takes a while to get the ball in the hole. Yeah. But he just has this ability to whack it really, really far, and he hits the ball, and it goes for miles and miles, and it goes in the hole in one. And he just looks at his mate and just goes, "Oh, that was easier, I'll just do that every time." Yeah. And I'm like, that to me sums up where you just kind of go, "Oh, it's just much easier if I just make this as easy for myself as possible." And I think musicians are obsessed with going, okay, if I want to get from A to B, however, I also want to put in 10 other points, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want to put them all in, and I want to go to all of these other points, but I do actually want to get to point B. And I'm like, "All right, okay, this is complicated."
It's summing up my life.
It does sum up most people's life. And I think for me personally, the reason why I feel like I can build businesses is because I can ignore points C to G, and I can go B. I'm going to go to B. And therefore I'm just get to B and go, right, I'm at B, where am I going to go next? And I plot the next bit. And so this, to me, is, if it were me, I'm just saying the things that I would do. I say that bands need to get out there, they need to perform, they need to gig. If I lived, and I did, if I lived in an area where there weren't as many venues, there weren't as many musicians, there weren't as many opportunities, the first thing I would do is I would literally pack my bags and leave. So, and again, it's not, and I'm not saying this about Lee, but I notice with a lot of musicians, it's not can they do the thing to be successful, it's are they prepared? Yeah. That's the thing, not can they, but are they prepared to do the things that you need to do, which are tough? Because, if everything went tomorrow, if I got bankrupted and my businesses went down and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh my God, I'm bankrupt.
Yeah.
I'd start again. It's just a game. But I tell you what I would do. I'd take every one of my outgoings out of the equation. I'd ask if I could sleep on your sofa and be like, I just need a couple of months. If I have to go and get a job, then I'm going to struggle. I know people are watching this shaking their head, being like, it's not realistic. I'm just telling you what I would do.
Yeah.
And not I would do. I'd find someone, I'd say, can I sleep on your sofa? I just need a couple of months. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to either save money so I can get back on my feet, or I'm going to, I'm going to put every hour God sends into making the content or doing something that gives me an opportunity to do something. Whether it's moving, if I needed to move to London, I'd move to London. If I needed to move to New York, I'd move to New York. Wherever I needed to go, I would go there. And it's harsh. And most people are going, well, I can't. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But that's different. And getting angry, and what musicians do is get angry at other people when they should be getting angry at themselves. They go, well, I can't because I've got a wife and I've got this. And it's like, I know. So therefore, what you're doing is you're complicating your life and saying, well, in that case, I'm going to have to go via point C, point D, point E. Not a problem at all. If you have to do that, it just makes it harder. So if I could, I would move. That's the first thing I would do, because I'd say, I need to gig. I need to play. The reason why I am such an incredibly amazing bass player. No.
Every time.
No, but as a bass player, I was obsessed with bass playing, and the way I cut my teeth was playing 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that where I lived. I'm from Swansea in South Wales. We used to play rugby clubs. We had rock bands, proper rock bands. I was in a band called Mosh or Die, right? And you
I did not know that.
Did you know? Absolutely. I was in a band called Mosh or Die. And, and all of a sudden, I was in bands like that. I was in a technical metal band for loads and loads of years. And you're going, we love Dream Theater and Annihilator and real technical music. And that's what we wanted to do, real technical metal. And you go, right, where are we going to play? Oh, good. Ebbw Vale Rugby Club. They're going to kill us. We didn't have those options. There were 2 or 3 venues in Swansea. I wasn't old enough to just go on tour. I was 17 years old. Realistically, most people were 70. And I was the oldest in the band as well. There were guys in the band who were 15. Your mum isn't going to let you just go off on tour at 15 years old. So then you go, well, what am I going to do? Well, for me, it was a case of going, I'm going to have to leave the band. I'm going to have to leave my friends. I'm going to have to leave my family, and I'm going to go somewhere. And whether it's to go to music college, and I'm going to do a series very, very soon on the pros and cons of music education, because and I'm going to say this bluntly, and I want this to be a meme. I want this to be on Twitter. I want you to cut this up and put this everywhere. The state of music education in this country is fucking horrific.
No, it is.
Off the chart.
It's
bullshit.
So bad.
Absolute bullshit. And if there's people from colleges watching now, what are you going to do? Sort it out. There are too many kids going to music college and coming out the other end not enjoying it, not learning. I'm trying to hire musicians. I can't. They're not good enough.
Well, school level music education really is
the whole thing, from start to finish. But you can go through a degree in one of the big music colleges. It's a nightmare. Anyway, so I'm going to do the pros and cons of it, because there are pros. Sometimes you need to get out of a city, and music college might be the way forward. But where you go and how you do it and how you study is quite important, because it's all about who you study with. It's all about who is going to help you, not what qualification you get. So there's pros and cons. Anyway, I'm going to do that, but that makes me angry. But going back to this, you've got 2 choices. You either start putting the time and the effort into making venues, or you move. Or the other thing you do is you just concentrate so hard online and you make YouTube your gig. That's the other thing. And you just say, YouTube is my venue and I get to play in that venue whenever I want. And Facebook Live, and that is something that you guys need to be doing, is Facebook Live. And so therefore there's a gig right there. Not quite the same, but when I was a kid, it was a case of you'd get out and you play. And the reason why my bass playing got better is because I was playing 3 times a week. And so whether it's Facebook Live, but it has to be live. It can't be, that wasn't good enough, I'll try again. No, it's got to be live. It's got to be something where you know that if you make a mistake, someone's watching you and you go, ooh, I didn't like that enough. That's the feeling you have to have. You can get that with Facebook Live. You can get it with Instagram Live. You can do live streams on YouTube as long as people are watching. Not quite the same, but you can do that. But the alternatives for me are move, or really, or become effectively a live online product. Imagine that. I mean, no one's ever done that. Imagine people going, do you know what I'm going to use Facebook for? I'm just going to do gigs whenever I want, just all day, every day, whenever I feel like it. I'm going to have my gig today is in the house of Facebook, and you have different background, and my gig tomorrow is going to be in the park via Facebook, and you can do whatever you want all of the time, and you can just write songs, learn songs, perform songs, get out, do the next thing the next day, and that can be your way of actually getting better as a musician whilst picking up your crowd. That's the thing that you can do. But the reality is if you live in the middle of nowhere, it's a problem. So your choices are limited, and if I were you, I would look into how you can better your situation, because at the end of the day, and this is the last thing I'll say on this, at the end of your career, when you look back, if you say, well, it wasn't my fault because, you're wrong. It's your fault. Everything is your fault because it's your life and your responsibility. And if you just say, well, I couldn't because it's someone else's fault, it's your career. So unless there's something we just got, I physically can't, I've got parents I need to look after or something, then you've got to find a way around it. But if it doesn't happen, it is still your fault. You've still got to find a way around it.
But at least there are kind of options you've created there. I mean, even if it's sort of one of those tricky situations, there's always ways around it to try and make it work.
Yeah, there are, and that is what I love about being a musician and being a creative is we find ways around problem. We find solutions to problems. So we keep it as simple as possible if we can do that, and then just find ways around problems. That's the way to forward.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.